Hello everyone. I wanted to go over the project I have assigned that's on page 84. The project is called Course Grade Analysis for Psychology 200. Now let's assume that we've already created the workbook that's shown on figure D10 on page 85. So that's step one. The next step is asking us to click into cell J4, which we've done already, and enter that formula that argument that they've given us on step two. Now, of course, I've already done this to save a little time, but I'm going to click up here and show what it's doing for us. What it is asking us to do is to take all of the cells, add all the cells up that are in this section here, and divide that by the total number of points possible. Obviously, what that does is give you a percentage. The next thing it's doing is it's multiplying all of that argument by a weighted value, which is 35, which is down here in cell J21. I hit enter, and the next thing it's asking us to do is to, well, let's first say that it is verified that it is the same amount that's indicated on that step, which is 30.625. The next thing it wants us to do is to make the values absolute that are being, the divisors themselves in the argument to be absolute. The reason they want to do that is if we were to just calculate the rest of these out by dragging our handle down, we would come up with a whole bunch of errors that say divide by zero. Because what that's actually doing is it's saying we're going to take all of this information right here and we're dividing it by nothing. There's nothing in this field and there's nothing in these fields. So it gives us an error. What we really want to do is divide by these fixed values, these positions here that are already fixed, the absolute value of those positions. So instead, I'm going to go up here to this first argument that we started with, and I'm going to make these values absolute. How I do that is by hitting the F4 key on, say, the first cell reference, which is B20. And what that does is it puts a $ in front of the column and in front of the row. Now, that $ means that it's a fixed value. If I hit the F4 key again, it will take the $ off from the column reference but leave it on the row. And then if I hit it again, it will change that to absolute value of the column reference and relative value of the row. We don't want to do that. The second one, or the last time I hit that, it will actually change it back to normal the way it was before, indicating a relative value. But we want to make it an absolute, so we're going to hit F4. Now we have to hit F4 for all of these because they all need to be fixed. So I'm hitting F4 and hitting F4. Hit enter. Now what we want to do is now we'll copy it down and it should pull it over just fine. The next thing it's asking us to do is under the Home tab in the Numbers group, we're going to hit the comma. What that does, as indicated when you mouse over, is it says it will change the format of the cell to accounting without adding the currency symbol. All it's simply doing is going to give us a decimal point and 2 places beyond that decimal point, and it'll clean up the text or the data real nicely for us. The next thing it's going to ask us to do in the instructions is do that same calculation or a similar calculation for the 2 quizzes that are here indicated here on column F and column G. Now, of course, by the magic of television, I've already done that, so I'm going to place that calculation in there. And again, what we need to do is make these two numbers here absolute, whatever's in that field, instead of relative. The same with this multiplier. So we go up to F20 in the formula bar and we hit F4. Now I could simply manually type in a $ that would do the same thing for each, but I'm going to use the F4 toggle switch. Hit F4, hit F4, hit enter. Now we're going to grab this and we're going to copy it down, and we're going to change that to accounting format. It kind of cleans it up. Finally, what it's asking us to do is we need to do the same thing for the exam part of the grade book. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a similar formula in and calculate all the grades for the exam just like we did for the quizzes. Now, of course, again, by the magic of TV, I've already done that. And I've already, as you see up here in the formula bar, I've made the arguments absolute rather than relative value. And you'll see that it highlights the 250s down here and makes the divisor a weight by 40. Okay. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to drag this down and make sure the default is accounting like it already is. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate the totals. And that's relatively easy. All we have to do is highlight all of the possible scores that we have. We're going to go up to the auto sum button and click auto sum, and it calculates our totals for us. Very simple. The next thing and that is on, let's see, that's step 7. Step 8, what it's asking us to do is we're going to change the titles on the sheets. And the first one says that we need to change it to grades. And then we're going to change the sheet on the sheet 2 to, what does it say? It says lookup. So it sounds like we're going to do a lookup. And we've done that. Now, the next thing, step 9, it's asking us to do a lookup table. So we need to go into the lookups tab and create the lookup table as shown in figure D11 on page 85. Now let's see if I've already have that. See if I've got it on my clipboard or not. And we're going to paste that in there. Now obviously you'd be having to type this in manually. So what it's going to have us do is it's going to have us do a lookup. So if you were turning to page 86, the first thing it says is to click on the grade sheet tab, and then we're going to click cell N4 in order to prepare for the lookup. Go up to the formulas tab, select the lookup and reference button on the toolbar, I'm sorry, on the ribbon, and then click lookup. Then the next thing we're going to do is click the lookup value array option, which is the second one here. Click OK, and now we have a dialog box for the lookup function. What it's asking us to do is we're going to use for a lookup value, we're going to look up the totals or the total that each student has. So in this case, the cell that has the total is M4. And then we're going to click on the array dialog box and go down and actually specify what we're going to look up in the lookup table. So we're going to click over here. We're going to select all of the information that is located in the lookup table, not the titles. And we're going to hit enter. As you can see, the array indicates the lookup table, and it indicates that it is going to be A2 through, there's a colon there, B12. Now, before we do go any further, we need to make sure that those are absolute values rather than relative values. Because what would happen if we change to cell M5 on the grades table is that we'd end up getting errored because it would try to look up the look up the different information or relative to what's in the lookup table. So I'm going to make that absolute, and then I'm going to make that one also absolute, and I'm going to hit OK. Now we're back into the grades table, grades worksheet, and it indicates that Lisa has a B+, and that is derived from our lookup information in our lookup table. Next thing we do is, because we made the values in that lookup array absolute, I should be able to drag this down with no errors. And lo and behold, we've done that, and it populated just fine with no errors. Looks like somebody's getting an F. That's no good. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you guys finish the project by creating your subtotals list and the pie chart. Just in case you're lost, we're actually on step 3 on page 86, and good luck.